What things can you eat during pregnancy and what should you avoid this Christmas? This is an absolutely brilliant book. I highly recommend it to everybody who wants to know more about nutrition during pregnancy, about the actual evidence about the recommendations, and what you truly can and can't have during pregnancy. And this book goes through the actual research we have, no misinformation, the current research that we have got on all things, including things like pate and cheeses and fish. However, I do work in the UK and we do follow UK-based recommendations and guidance, even if there isn't sufficient evidence to make some of those recommendations. The Tommy's Foods to Avoid in Pregnancy is a great information fact sheet and it's pretty balanced to be able to go from a UK recommendation perspective. So cheese is a big thing for lots of women during pregnancy. Lots of these cheeses with your cheese board at Christmas is safe to eat. Some cheeses are really safe to eat in pregnancy as long as they are steaming hot. So soft unpasteurized cheeses, soft cheeses with a rind and soft blue cheeses, as long as they are steaming hot, they are okay to eat during pregnancy. The cheeses that should be avoided during pregnancy because of the risk of listeria include mould-ripened soft cheeses that are cold with a rind, for example, soft blue cheeses such as Danish Blue, Gorgonzola and Roquefort, and also soft goat's cheese. Now, when we think about alcohol, the recommendation here in the UK is to avoid alcohol completely during pregnancy start to finish. However, Tommy's does say that cooking with alcohol is very unlikely to affect the baby, particularly if the alcohol is added really early into the cooking processes. And that's because a lot of the alcohol content will be burnt off during the cooking process. And the longer the cooking time, the more alcohol that evaporates, therefore the less that actually gets into the maternal system. When we think about things like Christmas puddings and Christmas cakes, they are often infused with alcohol afterwards. So the cake has already been cooked or the pudding has already been cooked. And then what tends to happen is they are fed with alcohol afterwards. These would not be deemed safe as the alcohol content has not been evaporated, it hasn't burnt off, and there's a higher level of alcohol then entering the woman or birthing person's body. And so the recommendation for women in the UK is that they should avoid things like Christmas pudding and Christmas cakes that are infused with alcohol. You could always make your own or ask to have an alcohol-free Christmas pudding or Christmas cake which would be safe to eat during pregnancy. Pate is recommended to be avoided during pregnancy here in the UK because of the chance of listeria. Listeria has been linked to sepsis during pregnancy, so that's a major infection, meningitis of the newborn baby and sepsis of the newborn baby too. We have fairly strict standards here in the UK when it comes to food recommendations during pregnancy. It is incredibly rare, however, and I would highly recommend that you read the Lily Nichols Real Food for Pregnancy book to have a look at the evidence that exists on this particular recommendation and area. And if you want more information, the foods to avoid in pregnancy, as a reminder, are on the Tommy's website. And if you are thinking about donating to a charity, Tommy's are a phenomenal charity to be able to support this Christmas. And if you are missing any of these foods during pregnancy, remember they can be your first postnatal meal if you are desperate to have them. So have them in the fridge, ready to go for the postnatal period.